It didn't start with shouting or sirens or chaos. It started with a look, the kind of look that decides who you are before you ever get the chance to explain yourself. And the second I saw it reflected back at me in the courthouse glass that morning, I knew this wasn't just another bad day. This was one of those moments that sticks, the kind that splits your life in two, before and after. I straightened my jacket, took a breath I'd practiced 1,000 times, and told myself the same thing I always did when the world got quiet in that dangerous way. Stay calm, stay observant. Don't give them what they expect, because the moment you react, they think they were right about you all along. You know what I mean? The Fulton Municipal Courthouse wasn't dramatic. Not on the surface, just hard chairs, flickering lights. The smell of burnt coffee and old paper people shifting in their seats with that mix of boredom and dread you only see in places where everyone's waiting to be judged. I stood at the defense table, hands loose, posture, relaxed, eyes forward. To most people, I probably looked like any other woman caught in the gears of the system. To Officer Karen Holt, sitting across the room in uniform, I was something else entirely. I could feel it. Her foot tapping too fast, her jaw tight, her hand resting a little too comfortably near her taser. The judge brought the gavel down, asking for order, but it didn't calm her. It irritated her, like the idea that anyone else had authority in that room offended her on a personal level. Karen Holt wasn't used to being told when to stop. What she thought was that she was about to put a defiant nobody in her place. What she didn't know, what she couldn't see past her own assumptions, was that the woman she'd already written off had spent years learning how to stay calm while everything around her exploded. I wasn't calm because I was weak. I was calm because panic had been trained out of me the hard way. And by the time Karen realized she'd misread the room, the cameras were already rolling quietly, patiently, doing what they do best. 3 weeks earlier, none of this was supposed to happen. I was driving down Harbor Drive in Eastport just after sunrise, windows down, salt air coming off the water traffic, moving slow and steady. It was one of those mornings where everything feels ordinary enough that your guard drops just a little, not much, just enough to breathe. Then the lights hit, red and blue filling the mirrors. I checked my speed out of reflex, 25 and a 25. I sighed, rolled all the windows down, placed my hands where they could be seen. Old habits die hard, especially the ones that keep you safe. Karen didn't walk up right away. She circled my SUV like she was inspecting something she assumed was stolen, peering through the glass, taking her time. When she finally leaned in, she didn't say hello, didn't explain the stop, just snapped, license and registration. Her sunglasses hid her eyes, but her mouth told the story. That smirk, that little curl of satisfaction. I kept my voice even. Good morning, officer. May I ask why I was pulled over? She leaned closer. Did I stutter? I moved slowly, reached for the glove box. Her hand dropped to her holster like a reflex. Careful. I froze for half a beat, then continued. Every movement deliberate. Because I knew the rules of this game, and I knew how quickly it could turn ugly. She looked at my documents, then at me, then back at the car. This your vehicle? I said yes. She laughed, sharp and humorless. Right. And I'm the governor. She scanned me head to toe. What do you do? I paused, chose my words. I work for the government. She scoffed. Sure you do. Then like it was scripted. Step out of the vehicle. I smell marijuana. It was a lie so obvious it was almost insulting, and we both knew it, but truth only matters when someone's willing to enforce it. I stepped out. Hands visible. Calm. She shoved me against the hood, spread my stance wider than necessary, searched me with hands that lingered just long enough to make the point clear. When she found nothing, her irritation turned into anger, and angry people escalate when reality doesn't cooperate. The cuffs came out fast. Charges followed like a grocery list she'd memorized, resisting disorderly suspicion of theft. I didn't argue, didn't cry, didn't ask why. I memorized her badge number and stared straight ahead as the cruiser door slammed shut. Some fights aren't meant to be won on the roadside. Some are won by patience, by letting people show you exactly who they are. Back in the courtroom weeks later, I didn't wear anything that screamed authority. No uniform, no medals, just a clean gray suit. Across from me sat my lawyer, Marcus Lane, the kind of guy who smiles when someone lies because he knows it means they're about to regret it. Karen Holt took the stand like she owned it. Confident, loud, comfortable. She told her story without hesitation. I was swerving. I was aggressive. I refused to comply. I took a swing at her. Each lie stacked neatly on the last, delivered with the certainty of someone who'd never been challenged before. The room murmured. I wrote one word on my notepad. Lies. Marcus didn't rush. He never does. He let her talk, let her build the story, then asked simple questions about dash cam footage, about vehicle telemetry, about why her body cam had been off for the first critical minutes. She had answers ready. Technology glitches. Machines fail. It happens. Marcus nodded like he agreed, then asked if she'd run my plate before approaching. She hesitated. I don't recall. Marcus leaned forward just slightly. If you had, you would have seen a clean record. High-level clearance. Not even a parking ticket. She sneered. Criminals start somewhere. And there it was, hanging in the air, the kind of comment that tells you everything without saying it outright. When I took the stand, my voice didn't shake. I served 12 years in federal tactical operations. Karen laughed from her seat. Yeah, sure. The judge banged the gavel. I continued. Rank, unit, years of service. I could feel the room change the way air does right before a storm. Karen stood up, shouting stolen valor, disbelief cracking through her confidence. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I just said I have my credentials, and my vehicle recorded everything. Marcus held up the drive. Internal camera, audio included. Karen's face drained of color because she knew exactly what it would show. That's when she lost control. Shame does that to people who build their identity on dominance. She stepped forward, shouting about illegal recordings, about traps, about respect. The judge ordered her to stand down. She didn't. She lunged, hands grabbing my lapels, trying to pull me down, and in that moment the mask fell completely. She wasn't law enforcement anymore. She was just a bully whose world had collapsed in public. I didn't panic. My body did what it had been trained to do. I stepped into the pull, trapped her wrist, rotated my hips, applied pressure. A clean, controlled takedown. Nothing flashy. Nothing excessive. She hit the floor hard, screaming. I pinned her voice low, steady. Stay down. The room exploded. Bailiffs rushed, guns half drawn. I raised one hand. Calm. I have secured the aggressor. When I stepped back and smoothed my jacket, it was already over. The gavel cracked. Karen was disarmed and dragged out, kicking and screaming, her authority dissolving with every step. Yeah, that happened. The charges against me were dismissed on the spot, but the story didn't stop there. Someone in the gallery had been recording. The video went live before Karen even reached the precinct. Millions of views, headlines everywhere, and suddenly the complaints she'd buried over the years came back into the light. Patterns emerged. Investigations opened. I didn't celebrate. I watched. Because accountability doesn't arrive screaming, it creeps in quietly, then refuses to leave. Weeks later, the city settled. Millions of dollars. I didn't keep it. It went to a legal defense fund for people who don't get cameras, who don't get second chances. Karen Holt was charged federally. Abuse of power, civil rights violations, corruption. Years passed. Laws changed. Oversight tightened. Her name became a lesson in academies. Mine became something else entirely. A while after that, I stood outside another courthouse, this time not as a defendant but as a witness to reform. A young officer approached me, nervous, hopeful. I saw what you did, she said. It made me want to do better. And that's the part people don't talk about enough. Justice isn't just about punishment. It's about who gets inspired to stand up next. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Was Karen Holt evil, or was she enabled? Was I lucky or just prepared for the moment no one expects? And how many stories never make it to court, never make it online because there was no camera and no audience? I want you to tell me what you think. Share your experiences. Argue if you need to. Because silence is how this stuff keeps happening, and attention is how it stops. If this story hit something real for you, like the video, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know whose moment is coming next.